everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Stripped Back with Daisy Delight, where I am doing my very best to unpack the Sydney burlesque scene, one rhinestone at a time. And if you're listening to this episode, congratulations, you have tuned into my Road to Mx Burlesque series, where every week I am interviewing either a reigning champ or somebody who is competing in this year's 2024 Mx Burlesque competition. And kicking off the whole series, we have none other than the reigning Mx Burlesque New South Wales herself, Aurora Riot. How you going?
Hi. I'm so good. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's literally like the biggest fucking honor to have you on this show. So thank you for making time out of your day to do it.
Oh, that's very kind of you, Daisy. Thank you.
It's all good. Now, I've been doing a little bit of a stalkity stalk of your social media profiles.
Okay.
Fun and all the fun stuff. So I mean, basics, Sydney-based burlesque performer. You're also an instructor. One thing I found very funny in your bio, number 51 on the burlesque top 50.
Yes.
Do you want to make a comment on that?
No, prove me wrong.
If it's not out there, then I mean, hey, like who's to say?
I mean, look, I'm just a silly little goose. I like to have a lot of fun, and I think that's a really silly little factoid that I like to sprinkle in there. And sometimes people get, like, burlesque people get it, but sometimes I'll be walking in through the audience after I've been introduced and someone uses that very fun fact and they'll be like, oh, well, that's not an achievement. Why'd she put that down there? Yep, that's the point.
It's like, guys, you don't understand satire. Come on now.
Correct. You're at the wrong show, but hello.
It's so funny. And this is one of the things that I love about you is that, because I've admired you for quite some time now. Just like, watching you, like, not to sound like a stalker, but I've been watching you.
I love it. Keep doing it.
But like, you're so glamorous and so well put together, and you're just like you're an absolute vision to look at, but you aren't afraid to get stupid. And I love that about you. You're just so much fun to watch.
I mean, there's no point doing anything ever if you're not going to have a little bit of fun.
It's so true, honestly. Like, I feel like every time I've watched you, you've either done something like ridiculously chaotic to the audience, or like there's been some sort of gag in your act as a whole, or there's a giant fucking Furby on the stage, like just anything.
Yes. Yeah. I can't do anything serious to save my life, no matter how hard I try. So unfortunately that just is what it is, and I've decided to own that, and that's my brand of burlesque.
And I love it. I mean, and it's clearly got you somewhere. You're the current reigning Mx Burlesque New South Wales, so congratulations.
Yeah, it's not done me badly.
All right, so let's just hop straight into it. So going back in the time machine, what would you say is your first ever exposure to burlesque?
Oh, okay. So when I was a kid, and I know it's not burlesque, and people listening to this will be like, yeah. I watched Moulin Rouge for the first time as a wee baby and was like, what glamorous women they are. And then dived into like, what is the Moulin Rouge? And I was like, oh my God, these women dance topless. What bloody icons.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I want to be. And so I was like, I'll train for this, but I was too short to even audition. So I didn't do that. And then one night when I was a human adult living my life, I was scrolling Instagram and this ad for this super glamorous woman came up dancing with a little powder puff. And I was like, who is that hottie? Sign me up to that. And it was an ad for Sky Sirens with a class with Eva DeVore. And I was like, done, in. And I did a baby doll term, like a little mini term that they were doing. And that was it. That's what she wrote.
Oh my God, that's so gorgeous. Seriously, Sky Sirens, like we've touched on this before in the podcast, but like marketing geniuses, like, oh my God, they know how to pull you in.
Katia Schwartz is an incredible marketer. She has such a beautiful eye for like detail and design and so good. It was such a beautiful, beautiful studio and such a lovely place.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was at that studio very briefly. I did Lyra and Pole, and just when I started to do burlesque there, it got shut down for COVID. Freaking crying. But yeah, every time I walked in, it was like literally you're just transported to like this fantasy, and it was gorgeous.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, but it makes so much sense that you were a Sky Sirens girly. I really see that in your aesthetic and like your overall presentation. I'm like, okay, that checks.
There it is. Yes.
That's really freaking cool. So your first class was with Eva. How was it?
Oh my, it was amazing.
Yeah.
One of the things that I go on and on about, if you ever come to one of my classes or if you ever ask me about burlesque and then you regret that decision immediately, is um, being taught by Eva DeVore the first time, as well as like, Porcelain Alice, is everything that they taught me had history laced into it. And
Yeah.
so it wasn't homework, but I would go home and I would look up these stars, we'd be doing bump and grind and they tell you all about these beautiful women and the thems from like the heyday of burlesque. And you'd go and watch these videos and be like, oh my God, they're incredible. And I want to be them. But they'd also tell you about people in the scene doing that at the time.
Oh,
And so you'd
cool.
want to then go to shows where you could see people with like doing what you were learning. And it was just incredible.
Beautiful. So it was like a fully immersive experience then.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome. What were the first shows that you went to? Do you still remember?
I do vividly.
Hell yeah.
One of the very first show that I went to was an Up Late and Uncut at Knox Street Bar, and
Oh,
that was
hot.
produced by Porcelain Alice Memphis May. And
Mm,
the lineup was Miss Sophia. It was Porcelain.
mm.
Memphis wore giant pasties for some reason. It was great. And I can't remember who the third person was now. Oh, but I was like, wow, this is everything. I've signed up to the very correct form of exercise. Absolutely. And unbeknownst to me, Diesel Darling was there and she actually had like briefly encountered my partner before.
No
So she
way.
was giving us tipping dollars and making sure that we felt like super immersed and a part of the experience. And it was just so like such a lovely introduction to people that like I now call very close friends.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
lovely. And
It's
now
like,
you're on in lineups with these people. How crazy is
yeah.
that?
Now these people ask me to come have coffee with them for some reason.
Oh, that's bloody cute. I love that. Did you end up doing an up late and uncut later on in your career or?
I did. I've done a few up late nut cuts, and I remember the first time I was asked, I was so excited, and they just let me do the most unhinged songs, and it was it was so lovely because I felt very seen. I felt very validated doing like my form of burlesque because obviously, like if you've ever seen a show by Porcelain or by Memphis, they're very much like just do you, Queen,
Yeah.
and that's what they're all about, and it was so lovely.
What were the songs that you chose?
I picked a song by Maneskin.
Oh yeah. Oh
Um,
nice.
and there was no English in it whatsoever. And it was like a bit heavy rock. And they're like, are you sure this one? And I was like, yeah, for sure. And they're like, okay, no problem, babe. And then I think I did It's Raining Men as well, which
Oh
I
my
mean is one
God.
of my absolute favorite songs to dance to. I dance to that most times I go to EO because that's what I want to dance to.
I love that so much. It's so camp as well. Like, how could you not love that song?
How can anybody not have a good time?
So, were you in any troops as a part of your up and comer burlesque experience?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
I did. I think it was two of the Porcelain Alice performance troupes where you then went and performed at her show Royal Heart Review.
Oh, wow.
Which is a huge honor to be
Yeah.
in Royal Heart Review. But as a troupe baby, as someone who was coming up through the scene, that was such a huge honor because she also then helped us, put our costumes together, made sure we looked like a troupe. If
Mm,
you've ever done a Porcelain Alice troupe, or if you haven't, I highly recommend you do.
mm.
She's
It's on my
so
to-do list.
Oh, babe,
Yeah,
get on it. Like
me too.
her eye for costuming, her eye for detail. Again, the way that she also uses history to teach burlesque and what people do currently is so beautiful. It's so inspiring and it makes you want to be this beautiful, glamorous thing that's on stage, but also yourself at the exact same time.
I love it. So, what were the songs that you guys did your routines to?
No, one was Glass of Heart, Heart of Glass.
Oh, gorgeous.
That one.
Nice.
And the other one I think was The Man with the Golden Gun. Do
Oh,
you know that
cool.
one? Should I hum that for you as
Can you
well?
please actually though?
The song that goes bum ba da ba da bum ba 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 da ba bow wow bow wow
Okay,
wow. You know that one?
after that, I can't mistake it.
Absolutely. If you want to just play Spotify, it'll pick it up. Don't worry.
Oh, gorgeous. What were the concepts?
One, we had a little bum heart. I remember very vividly trying to find the fabric for the bums, and there's a picture somewhere of me sewing onto. There's my friend April Showers like sewing her heart onto her bum backstage while she's bent over in front of me. Um, and I can't remember what the other one was. I think it was like a red and a pink situation, but I don't have the costume anymore, which is really silly of me because at the time I was like, oh, who needs this? I do. I
Yeah.
live with it.
Such a mistake. Are you a costume hoarder now? Do you just have like
Oh,
cases and
Daisy, at
cases?
the end of this, I'll show you my costume house.
I'm bloody excited because my god, like I mean, some of the costumes that I've seen you wear on stage, they're just freaking incredible. Do you make them yourself? Do you go to someone to get them designed? Like,
Oh, I'm not very good at making. I'm good at being like, hey, here's a vague concept. Please help me. And then I can rhinestone the crap out of
yeah,
it.
we love a rhinestoning sesh.
Absolutely. I mean, like one of my favorite costumes in the entire world, poor Eva DeVore had to make. I mean, she's an absolute champion. She's absolute G. If you need any costumes made, please go and see her. She made my 7-layer blue act.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I went to her and was like, hey, this is what I want to do. And I think she just looked at me inside and was like, it's fantastic. Let's do it. And then I think she regretted that so much.
Holy shit. Yeah. Cause like, oh my God, like how do you even go about making 7 dresses that are going to go straight on top of each other?
Exactly. And I think I changed what I wanted halfway through and was like, hey, so I know I said I wanted this, but now and she was so accommodating and like so helpful. Oh, and like it's everything I've ever dreamed. But at the same time, like I can see her tears in the fabric.
When you were performing that at MX, were you like, okay, no pressure, but like,
No
do me a
pressure.
favor?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. And that's like I have to say one of my absolute favorite acts of yours. Like holy shit. Like I just love like the pure comedy of again and again it's another dress and then at the end with your freaking
With the
headpiece I was
silly
like
headpiece. Yeah. So porcelain makes a lot of my headpieces, Porcelain Alice. And I was
yeah.
like, so the concept is and the dresses are and she again was just like, okay, I'll work it out. And she just it made the most beautiful headpiece for the silliest reason. And it's also one of my favorite pieces that I own.
God, no, I with good reason. I mean, not only is it hilarious, it's also glamorous as fuck. So I mean,
Absolutely. Two birds, one stone.
yeah. I have to say though, like, have you like I don't even know the best way to ask this question. Like, have you like either studied comedy or comedy writing or something? Because I come from a stand-up background and like watching
Oh,
your acts.
cool.
Yeah, so like watching your acts, I'm just like, oh my god, like this is like classic, like like comedy, like setup, punchline, whatever. Like it's really like quite honestly watching you perform. It's really like sketch comedy. Like, are you inspired
Oh,
by a lot of those things?
that's so lovely of you to say. Thank you.
It's true.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm a sitcom girly. Like if I'm not at work, I'm probably at home eating a snack, watching some type of sitcom rerun.
Love that.
But I also my partner is a creative writer and he is, one of the biggest people I can bounce stuff off because if he as a muggle doesn't find it funny, there's no point putting it on stage because no one else is going to get
That's a
it.
great point. Having that sounding board is so useful. Hey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what are your favorite sitcoms then? I gotta know.
Oh, so they're on a rotation. So there's
Okay.
Bob's Burgers, that's a new one,
Oh, yes.
obviously.
Mm,
We've got The Office, we've got New Girl, we've got Parks and Rec.
yes.
What am I missing? So many.
Oh God. I love Parks and Rec so much. I could watch that like to no end.
It's just so good. Like
Yeah.
it's so silly and it's so fun. And I think, yeah, you're right. I try to replicate that light and that brevity because again, to me, there's no point doing anything if you're not gonna have a silly little fun time.
This is why I love you so much. You're just a silly little goose. I have a lot of I had
You're
a lot
just a
of
girl.
you're literally just a girl and I love that. I love that. So how did you come up with your burlesque name then? How was Aurora Riot conceived?
Yes. So it went through many rounds of trial and error. And, I'd be like, okay, I think this is the name I want to use. And then I would keep saying it over like, 2 weeks and be like, what? Hate that. Um, But Aurora, is obviously Sleeping Beauty. Sleep is one of my favorite activities in the entire world, but it's
Love that.
also, the Aurora Borealis. It's light, it's beauty, and then, riot. Like, nothing I do doesn't have a meaning, and that's not for the audience to always know, but it's for me to be like, I'm making a message about blah, or I'm blah 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 blah. But you're gonna have a very fun time, and I'm gonna have a nap afterwards.
I love that. Fun time, nap afterwards. That's the,
Absolutely, that's the
the
motto.
literal translation of your name.
Yes. Fun time with a nap.
It's so good. Well, it's a beautiful name, and it does really suit you in what you do. So well done for
Oh,
that.
thank you.
Do you remember any of your early drafts of your name? Any ones
I
that,
do. I
yeah.
think there was something like Misbehave, and like I think I had some kind of French name because at the time it was very like pick a name and then pick a la blah or
Uh,
like Bavon or
yeah.
and I wanted something that was a little bit different, you know.
Mm.
I liked how, sorry, Memphis. I like that Memphis Mayhem had some alliteration to it, and that for me felt fun. And I also like, Aurora Riot kind of sounds like someone slurring the words all right.
It does actually, yeah. All right.
Yeah. And like I like to say in my bio, it leaves with a mouthful of R's. So it's always a nice time.
It is. It is. Look, it's memorable. You can say that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Whether you actually remember what it is a different matter.
So, what was your first ever solo act then?
My first ever solo act, it was an act entitled Bilqui, and it was supposed to be about the Queen of Sheba.
Mm.
But as I developed it, I kind of felt, a little bit, oh, that's someone else's culture, and I can't really be doing that. And
Yeah.
so it became more about the American gods' interpretation of who the Queen of Sheba was. And it was about people worshiping her and like this flesh orgy kind of situation. And then she would end up eating people with her vagina. And I was like, that's cool. That's fun. It was a super serious classic and it was really, really beautiful and stunning. But like as I toured it and as I went to different teachers and did different workshops and learnt different styles of burlesque, I just kind of was like, oh, I don't think this is the trajectory I want to go on. I don't think this suits me. And so I've retired that act. I still have all the pieces of it and, it still holds such a little place in my heart because I got to debut it at the Factory Theatre, which is like huge for a
Yeah.
debut
Yeah,
venue.
that's massive.
I think there was like 200 people there, and I was pooping my pants. But yeah, I've decided, as a fully grown adult, that it's not really my culture. It's not something I can super comment on. So
Yeah.
it's time for that to retire, as beautiful and wonderful as it is.
That's a really responsible and mature decision, I think. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, as artists, we have a responsibility to know what cultures we're tapping into and to be sensitive about that and to understand that not everything is for everyone.
Absolutely, 100%. Also, do you want to know something fucking weird?
Yes, tell me.
um, I
Always, Daisy.
I was there at your debut.
Stop it. No, you
It
weren't.
fucking was.
Yeah.
I remember it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I was like, like people will ask me like, "How long have you been doing burlesque for?" And I'm look, I've been like a little like tangential, like sort of like thing in the scene for a while now. Yeah, I was literally just like hanging out in the days before I was even doing
Oh,
burlesque in the audience. I think I was sitting with Elixir Black.
oh, gorgeous.
Yeah, and I remember you coming on stage and it was so funny because around about the time that I saw that, I was having talks with my friends because I was like a lyra girly at the time, and
Mm.
we were talking about like, oh, what should our stage names be? And one of my friends was like to me, oh, your stage name should be Aurora, that would really suit you. And I'm like, oh,
Ah.
thanks. But like deep down I was like, I don't think that resonates with me, like I don't think that that's me. And then I remember like seeing your debut and then she said to me after, oh, you can't have Aurora now, someone else has it. I'm like, oh, too bad.
Bummer.
I'm just like, oh my god. But I remember you, and I remember you were gorgeous, you were glowing. It was
Oh.
like forgive me if I forget details, but it was a white costume, right? Like it was beautiful, white,
It was
shiny.
it was baby blue, like only just
Oh,
blue.
dang it.
Um,
Yes. No,
yeah,
it was gorgeous. You were
it was gorgeous.
absolutely beautiful.
My
So
mum helped me make it, and
oh,
she, like there's a big history on your podcast of people's mums pitching in.
yeah.
And I think she was so jazzed to just kind of be a part of it. And like, we did a couple of developments at her house and I'd go and try it on. She'd be like, I don't like that. That's wrong.
I love it. You got to have respect for mums, eh? They really, they come through.
Absolutely. Like, I try my hardest to keep her away from a lot of shows. And it was only recently that she was like, why don't you want me there? And I was like, Mum, it's really hard to make people want to have sex with you if you're sitting like right in the middle of the audience.
Has she started showing up?
Oh, she was showing up.
Oh,
Like, I couldn't keep her away as much as I tried.
oh my God.
She's one of the most supportive mums you'll ever meet.
Oh,
And she's
bless
probably
her.
gonna come to more, let's be honest. So
Oh.
if I'm ever around, I will introduce you to my mum.
Oh, I would be honored. Bless her soul.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
Yeah, she sounds cool. I mean, anyone who's cool with their kid doing burlesque, I think massive tick in my box.
Well, funny you say that. So in year 12, when we had to sit down with our guidance counselors, my
Uh-huh.
poor guidance counselor, she was like, "So what do you want to do?" And I was like, "Oh, I want to dance at the Moulin Rouge." And she was just like, "Okay." Um, and she was like, "So what position?" And I was like, "Well, like obviously I would like to be one of the girls that gets their boobs out because they get the most like on stage time." And she then had to go and tell this to my mom, and my mom was like, "Yeah, totally, absolutely. Why not?"
Oh my God. So even since then, she was just like, yep,
She was like,
whatever.
"That's what she wants to do. Why not?"
Oh my God. Freaking cool mom. I love that.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
So what's the act that you're most proud of then?
Oh, look, it probably is my 7-layer dress act, or it's look, anything that I've made for MX probably, because I
Yeah.
poured like about 2 years of time into that,
Oh, wow.
as a preparation. After I did my first MX, I kind of was like, "Okay, I get what it's about now. I understand, there's a scoring system, and whilst it's all about you and how you do burlesque and what you have to say about that, there's a judging panel, and it's
Yeah.
about, what people want to see." And so I made sure that I was presenting, in a criteria kind of way, but also it was something that I was super proud of and super me and driven by what I had to say. So my 7-layer blue act is very me, and it's very much about what I have to say about burlesque. And same with my Miss Congenialities act. Um,
That was
and I
hilarious, by the way.
Thank you. It took a lot of coordination, but I'm super proud of that one as well. And I mean, the costumes for it are bloody fantastic. Again, poor Eva DeVore had to sew this beaded dress and make it into a top and a skirt.
Oh my God.
And Opie Robinson made my pink version of Christina's costume for me, and it's one of my absolute favorite things that I own, and I need to find more time to wear it because it's stunning.
Oh my God. Have you taken that act other places too, or is it too many? Because I know there's like a fake bathroom stall that comes out at one point.
Oh, that's just a bucket with a toilet lid glued to it. And
Amazing.
Guy Cable, who is Memphis May's fiance, made my toilet door for me, and that packs down because he's such an incredible set builder. He made it super like travelable for me, so I did take it to Newcastle Fringe, but I couldn't take my backup dancers with me because who has that kind of money? I'm not Dita. Um, so I just did it on my own, and I think it falls a little bit flat when you don't have that sense of the big dance number at the beginning.
Right, gotcha. I mean, I'm sure they would have still fucking loved it though.
Oh, I mean, it was still the tits,
Yeah.
but it just doesn't quite translate the same when you don't have the backup dancers.
Also, shout out to your backup dancers. I know one of them's my very good friend, Miss Marceline.
Yeah, Miss Marcelin, she was phenomenal. So originally it was my best friend Taylor and a very close friend of mine, Chloe, but Chloe ended up having to go to hospital the week before MX. And so
What?
I called up Marcelin and was like, "Hey girl, what you doing?" And she was like, "Well, I'm gonna be there." And Bella Baby Doll was one of her teachers at the time, and so I made
Mm,
sure that Bella wasn't, gonna be using her and didn't feel weird about me trying to like poach her student or anything like that.
yeah.
But she was such a legend and came and did it for me. And I'm like eternally grateful for her stepping in at the last minute.
Yeah, no, she handled it like an absolute pro. And then I was like to her after, look,
Absolutely.
you performed in a winning act at MX.
You've done MX now, babe.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god. Yeah, no, it was so memorable, and I felt like the vibe in the room, like you could really feel everyone was like so on board, and it was just a big party. So like, yeah, that yeah,
I
no,
mean,
that just
I love MX for that reason, right? Everyone's there. Everyone wants you to do well. Like, no matter who you are or like if they're your friend or not, they're just like, yeah, get it, burlesque. And like, it's just such a lovely time.
it really is. It really is. It's like, I make jokes about myself being like a little naive Care Bear where it's just like everyone's friends and we make a cake of rainbows, but it's like that's one of those moments, you know
No,
what I
but
mean? Where I'm just like,
MX burlesque is.
it really is. It's just the cutest thing ever. All right.
Absolutely.
So, do you have something that you would consider to be your biggest on-stage fail?
Look, honestly, and this just sounds so bleh, no. No, I don't.
No.
Like, one of the things I learned as a student is like there's no mistakes, there's just accidental solos. And I was like, do you know what? I'm a solo artist. There are no mistakes. How do you know what I'm supposed to be doing?
That's fucking great. I love that. No mistakes.
Yeah, and I mean, I do rehearse my acts every now and then, so that I know what I'm doing, and if I mess up in air quotes, or if I'm like, oh, I don't know where I am, I can just kind of vibe it out until I'm like, okay, and the choreo cuts back in now, and seamless. The audience don't need to know about that.
Absolutely. And look, as someone who's seen you before, I've never thought anything had gone wrong in your act. So I mean, it's clearly working.
Oh, thank you. Like, I can assure you I've forgotten choreo plenty of times, but it's all about, just selling that dream. I'm beautiful and glamorous. Have a look at me. Blah, 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 blah. There's my boobs.
Literally, that's what burlesque is all about.
Absolutely.
If you don't have anything to add there, can I jump in and say one of my favorite chaotic things that you've ever done to an audience member?
Please tell me.
Okay, so this was either at the end of last year, beginning of this, it was beginning of this, no, end of last year because it was right before you did MX. And I remember you were performing at Wildfire Lounge
Yep.
and you had this act where you were wearing this gorgeous pink, like embellished, sparkly number. And you came into the audience and there was
Oh,
you know where this is
I
going.
know what you're about to say.
There's this lovely old man who's just sitting in the audience with like his like I don't know like some family member or whatever, and you just like put your boobs in his face and start rubbing his face in your boobs, and then like afterwards. After you'd gone off stage, Eli Fury came out and started hosting again, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "My face is bleeding."
Yeah.
Like, oh my god!
Yeah. Hey,
Literally cut
as
an old man's
Kellyanne
face.
says, if you're not going to knock a bottle of wine off the table, why are you doing it?
It was so classic. And then I remember you came out and you're just like, I'm a registered nurse. I'm just like, I'm so here for this.
Absolutely. Look, if you wanted me to fix him up, I could have. I'm sure my duck for cover has somewhere some type of public liability in it. Oh.
Oh, it was so freaking funny. I'm just like, yeah, okay, this is Aurora Riot. It's just chaos, and I'm here for it.
It is just chaos. It's just beautiful chaos.
So, do you consider yourself to have a signature move?
Oh, okay. So I've been thinking about this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so, but someone else could probably tell you in the same way that I could tell you other people's signature moves. You know
Gotcha.
what I mean? Like, I hate watching myself perform.
Mm,
Such a silly thing to say. You really should watch yourself perform because how else are you going to get better? You have to force yourself to do it. But I hate doing it.
yeah. Yeah.
I think if I think really hard about it, it's probably just showing people my ass. Standing in like a really wide second, being like, there it is, there's my bum.
That's it. What else do you need to
That's
do?
it. That's what people are paying to see.
It's true. It's true. Honestly. I like that. I like that. It's to the point, you know?
Absolutely.
That's cool. Is there anyone else's signature move that you love in the scene?
Oh, I mean, I love everyone's moves. Like, I love licking things, and I think
Mm,
I learned that from watching everyone that I
yeah.
know. I love the way when Memphis May takes her gloves off, she makes a little vagina and then she puts a little tongue through it, and I think that's hilarious. If you haven't seen her pussy act, you need to go and see that.
Me
Um,
too.
oh, like how long have we got to record? Have you got like a spare 2 hours?
Ah!
Let's talk about it.
Okay, I'll cut you off there then. I'll cut you off. Oh my God. Memphis May's Pussy Act. I've never seen it, but now I need to.
It's one of the funniest, like, most well thought out things. I won't spoil it for you. It's
Okay.
all about pussy,
Oh, yes.
cats.
Pussy and cats.
Pussy and cats? What more do you want? No, it's fantastic. It's so funny. It's so intuitive, like, smart is the word I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
And it's very her. It's very circusy. It's very burlesque. It's gorgeous. You need to go and see it.
Fantastic. Okay, that's on the to-do list for sure. So, do you have someone that you consider to be your biggest influence in burlesque?
Oh, everyone.
Yeah.
I think if you're in burlesque or if you want to do burlesque, just go and see as many shows as you can so you can see what people are doing. Like, if people tour here, see it. If you're overseas and you see a show, go and see it. Like, one of the most inspiring things that I've ever been to is the Burlesque Hall of Fame Weekender. I
Oh.
went in 2023. What year is it now? Who knows? It was the year Trigger Happy, Carly Missy, and Betty Bombshell were performing, and it
Oh,
was just like 4 nights of excellence. The
incredible.
Legends night, I think I didn't stop crying from the time it opened till it finished. Like, it was
Mm.
just so beautiful, inspiring to watch these trailblazers, these women doing what they love in costumes that they love for people that just want to love them. And I
Yeah.
think being in a room full of people that are so creative and so different to you, but also love the art form you love is so inspiring.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be electric.
It was incredible. Like, I highly recommend if you have the means or if you get in, go. Like,
Yeah.
just go. It's so beautiful. But to that, go to any burlesque show. Like, I think it's such a wonderful, beautiful art form. And if it doesn't inspire you, you're silly.
Honest to God, yes.
Vibe slay. Um, yeah, I mean, everyone that I know is inspiring. I love watching other people do what they love to do. I think that's really inspiring as a person, like, not just as a burlesque performer, but as a human being, to see people do things that they're passionate about is so electrifying as a human.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Hun-
yeah.
100%. And like this is something that like I'm learning, like even just doing this series. Like I've probably done like I'd say about maybe half of the interviews now at this point. And like just the amount of like what I love about burlesque is that it is so diverse. Like
Mhm.
anyone can do it. It's so accessible and people come from so many different backgrounds. It's like, this year you've got like, Jackal, who's a drag performer, and you've got
Mhm.
Yvette, who like it comes from a Latin dance background, and you've got like Lilith, who's like a gothic like
A beautiful goth.
siren.
Yeah, honestly. And then you've got Billy, who's a burnout and so silly and fun. Oh my God. Do you
Yeah,
want to talk about the lineup? Let's do it.
yeah.
Let me gush about these beautiful women for a little bit.
Yeah, like seriously, it's so fucking gorgeous. And I'm just like the amount of excitement that I'm feeling to see what they're going to bring this year. Yeah, I love how everyone's so different, but we're all united by this one love.
Definitely. I think that's something that the producers of MX do so beautifully.
Mm.
Like, Kelly and Memphis are so passionate about people doing what they love and about people just presenting what they want to present. They don't want you to have to feel, boxed in or whatever. Um, and like Delilah Dollbaby is the stage manager, and she's so helpful in, like,
Mm.
do you want to do a site visit? Do you need to know the specs of the stage? Like, what do I need to give you so that you feel confident creating your art? Like, these three together are such a phenomenal in your corner trio when you're doing MX.
Mm.
If you anyone listening, if you want to do MX, like, have a reach out to these people. Like, they'll chat to you about it before you apply. They'll encourage you. They'll make sure that you feel ready before you do. Like, they were such an invaluable resource the 2 times that I've done it.
Well, I mean, technically, you're going to do it a third time this year, right? You're going to do your handover.
Absolutely. I'm going to do a handover act, and it's going to be unhinged, and I'm so excited about it.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Yes.
So, do you have any advice for new performers coming into the scene?
Oh my gosh, so much. Where do we start? No, just, be yourself, have fun, be kind. No one wants to work with someone who's, cranky or being a sourpuss. Like, have a nice time. And if you're not having a good day, tell someone about it. We're all here to take care of each other. But,
Mm.
go and learn from other people. Have a good time. Be authentically yourself. Like, I've got so many things to riddle off, but I'll stop there. Have fun. That's just it. Like at the end of the day, have fun. There's
Yeah.
no point doing burlesque if you're not going to have a good time. If you're going to be sad and you're going to be, pushing yourself to the point where you don't really want to be doing it, don't do it. Just have
Yeah.
a good time.
Absolutely. That's right. I mean, like we're only on earth for a short amount of time, right? So you may as well have fun.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There's no point doing anything. And I keep saying this. There's no point doing this if you're not going to have a good time.
I love that. I love that so much. So, how did you end up getting ready for MX Burlesque when
Oh,
you
by
way back?
crying. I spent like 2 years crying.
Oh,
Um, no, there's so much blood, sweat, and tears that goes into prepping for an MX competition, like because it is the biggest at the moment, except for Masters. It's the biggest
mm,
competition that we have in Australia.
yeah,
And for me, I wanted to make acts that fit, the size of the stage that we were on in term like physically and literally, like we're also on the biggest stage we have in Australia.
yeah,
Um, and so I spent a lot of time researching. A big thing for me is not forcing acts either. Like I wait until a concept kind of smacks me in the face, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I want to do.
yeah, totally.
So I highly recommend, like if you don't quite know what you want to do for MX, like wait until you're ready, wait until you're passionate about something and you have something that you want to present and say to an audience.
Mm,
Um, but also make sure you talk to the other performers that are in it and make sure you talk to your friends about it because they want to support you just as much as you want to do it. You know what I mean? Like I could not have done MX without all of my girlfriends. I think there was about 5 times where I had what looked like a sheen camp in my house where there was just women crouched doing rhinestones over my dresses and I felt terrible, but I gave them pizza, so it's all good.
oh my God, you're the boss who pays everyone in pizza for a good time.
I come from healthcare. I don't know any different.
Oh my God. Yeah, but that is so true though. Support systems, they really do make all the difference.
They make a huge difference. And it's not until you talk to other people doing MX at the same time that you realize they feel as behind as you do and like they feel
Mm,
as much pressure as you do. And you're not alone. Like you don't have to sit there in silence being like, oh, why have I done this?
yeah.
Everyone else feels that way.
Oh, thank God. And that must be a really liberating feeling as well to know that, hey, like, you're all in this together.
Absolutely. It feels really validating. Like there
Oh.
were several times where Delilah Dollbaby and I are very good friends. We would meet up and we'd just be like, and then after about half an hour of crying, we'd be like, oh, this is so fine. Like we're on track. It's cool, and like I'd chat with Sane and I'd chat with Whiplash and I'd chat with here we go, just riddling off people again with Bell Baby Doll. And you realize that everyone's in the same boat,
Yeah.
everyone's going through it. So,
Yeah.
like, just be nice to each other and be supportive and be there because everyone feels the same way.
Oh, that's really lovely. And it is so funny though that this is the vibe at competitions. I mean, like I'm sure it's not the vibe at every single competition, but I mean like, on a on a smaller scale, like I was in Apprentice earlier this year and like
Yes.
the vibe backstage was just everyone was just so nice and there to support each other. And I'm like, this is lovely. Like we're all technically each other's competitors, but like we're all so supportive. It's just great.
Absolutely. And again, that's another competition run by Kellyanne Dole. And I think that theme comes through of that nurturing
Mm,
you-ness. And I think that takes a lot of the pressure out of it. Like, obviously, we all want to win,
yeah.
but I think she makes a space where we feel like we can be ourselves and we can just do what we want to do, and that's acceptable, and that will be enough. You don't have to win as long as you're just, putting your best foot forward.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. It's so wholesome. It really is.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, look, do competitions if you want to feel a sense of community as well. Like, I don't think I ever felt more connected to community than when I've been doing competitions.
absolutely. Do you have any other competitions on the horizon right now, or is that a loaded question?
Oh my god, such a loaded question.
It's okay. We can skip it.
No, look, I don't. I want to take a little break from competitions because as much as I love them and I love performing and pushing myself, like it takes a lot.
Mm,
I
mm,
had heaps of past winners be like, "Yeah, babe, you're just going to want to lay down for 3 months after this."
yeah.
And they were so right.
Yeah.
I just like tapped out,
Yeah.
ready to lay down.
Valid. Honestly, I mean, you've already done so much, so
Yeah. You do so much prep work, and all the audience sees is between, 6 to 10 minutes of performance.
Yeah. God, that's just wild, honestly. So much that just goes into those few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was the best part of your run as MX Burlesque in New South Wales?
Um, Yeah, the best part has been community, honestly. Like, I think when you become a title holder, people feel a little bit more comfortable approaching you. Like, I've met so many people, they come up and they're like, "Oh, hi, like I'm blah 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 blah. Like you're Aurora Riot, you're the MX New South Wales." And I'm like, "I am, but tell me more about you." And like
Yeah.
it feels like such a conversation starter. Like people don't feel as weird coming to have a chat to you because there's actually something you can have a starting point with. I think
Yeah.
that's one of the like most wonderful things about winning a title is people feel a lot more comfortable talking to you and you get to meet so many more people.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's really sweet. And like and like I love that about you is that like, you are like, yeah, I'm MX Burlesque New South Wales, but also like, you want to know about people and like, talk to them and get to know other people. It's really lovely.
I love other people.
Yeah.
Like I will talk till I'm blue in the face to other people about whatever they've got going on. I just find other people so fascinating. What a weirdo.
No, it's not weird at all. It's gorgeous. Like, I remember, God, I was at a show earlier this year with Forest Green, and I remember like you were in the show, and I was like, oh my God, Aurora was so amazing, and Forest was like to me afterwards, she's like, let's go up and talk to her afterwards, and I was like, oh my God, no, but she's so like, I was literally like getting a bit starstruck. I was like, oh my God, no, and she's like, it's fine, Daisy, it's gonna be fine. And then like when we went up and talked to you, you were like the nicest person, and I'm like, oh
Oh,
my God.
well, I'm glad you thought I was nice. That's good.
Yeah. So
Oh,
it's
I'm
like
glad Forrest did that. She's such a sweet bean. I have so much time for Forest Green.
Forrest is a fucking ledge. I love her so much. Like,
Absolutely. She's
probably one
such a
of my.
sweetie pie.
And you're gonna be actually, you know what? Funny coincidence. On the day that this episode is set to be released, we're actually all going to be dancing together.
We sure are. Yeah. So when again, I can't organize anything to save my life. All of my energy goes into making sure people don't die when I'm on the clock at work, and then,
Balance.
making sure I don't die when I'm performing. I don't have a lot of time to organize my own crap, but Forrest reached out to me and was like, "Hey, like I want you to do a workshop." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'm not organizing that, babe." And she was like, if I do the organization, will you do the workshop?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" And then she did.
Yeah. It's something Forrest is great at. She's like, okay, doing the thing, let's go. I'm like,
Type
love
A as hell, and I love it, and I wish that was me.
it. No, she's a good one, that one.
Such a good egg.
So, what advice would you give to this year's MX contestants?
Have fun.
Yeah.
Enjoy every moment of it. It's not about winning, it's about presenting you on a large stage to a big audience. And be really proud of yourself. Like remember that you got into the biggest competition against other people. So people want to see what you have to offer, like that's really impressive, and that's such a humbling thought. No one has to be humble, but like it's a humbling thought, that you're good enough to be on this large stage. So, like soak that in. Don't put so much pressure on yourself to have to win or have to be the best. Like just go out there and be you. Like have a good time.
Yeah, that's lovely. Just have fun. I love it.
Just have fun.
Have some fun.
There's no point to any of this if we're not having fun.
Exactly. So, we're actually getting towards the end of the interview, which
Oh
is
no, I'm having such
wild,
a good
which is
time.
really sad. I know, I'm having a great time too. I'm just like, fuck, let's keep going. But one thing I like to do on the show, before we say goodbye, is before we spotlight what you're doing at the moment, is there anyone else in the scene that's doing something amazing that you'd like to shine a light on?
Everyone's doing amazing stuff at the moment. I literally was thinking about this the other day. Like from when I started burlesque to now, the scene has changed so much.
Mm.
And like people are doing such incredible, impressive things. Like okay, so I've just finished Fringe. Let's do a spotlight on the shows that I was doing and the people that produced that.
Mm.
So we'll start with Eli Fury, House of Fury.
Mm.
So impressive. Like over what 2 years she's made something wicked. She's done Tickle and Tea, she's doing Naked and Dangerous, she's doing this, she's doing that, she's doing Fringes. Like I'm just so impressed with that woman and like how much she has achieved and like air quotes conquered in the last few years. Like it's just impressive to watch her work and to watch her create things and create spaces for people as well. Like her like if you haven't done a fire class with her, she came up through like learning fire in people's backyards, and she went, that's not safe. We're going to do like a structured thing where there's fire safety and there's, proper technique taught, and everyone learns the same thing. And if they do shows, like I can be there to do fire safety for them. And I think that's such an impressive thing for her to do.
Mhm.
Obviously she employs me, so I'm real happy about that. But like she's so impressive, and like the people that are in her orbit as well. You've got Bella Baby Doll that does heaps of shows with her, who's so wonderful. And if you haven't done a class with Bella, I highly recommend you do. Like she's just love and light, and like
Mhm.
her love for burlesque and the way that she does it is so, it's just nice to watch. Like she's so enjoyable because you can tell that she loves what she does. And then I've just done Stripsons as well, which is
Yes.
such a fun show to be a part of. And whenever they do come to Sydney, I'm also a part of the Swamplesque team.
Ah! Who do you
So
play?
I play Princess Number Two, and
Hell yeah.
I'm a swing for Thelonious every now and then. But like just being in the orbit of I think they call themselves the Burlesque and Drag Collective, but Trigger Happy Productions, Trigger Happy, BB Gunn, Maddie Schneider, and Nolan's Volans, I believe, are the four producers of Stripsons.
Mm.
I'm so sorry, guys, if I got that wrong. Uh, they're so like wonderful because they come from such an array of backgrounds. Nolan's is a drag king, yes.
Mhm.
BB is a drag queen. Maddie is like a stage manager, producer slash door bitch. And Trigger is just such a beautiful dancer and like such a fun boylesque performer. And
Mm.
like these people are just so wonderful to be around, and they're so inspiring. And they're going to Edinburgh again. They're going to London for Christmas. Like just how much they've been able to achieve over the last 4 years is incredible.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's insanity. Like I'm so proud of them. They've worked so hard and they deserve it, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's so freaking cool. So just like all of these amazing, successful
Oh,
people.
absolutely. And like again, yeah, like just anytime you see someone that you even faintly know from the internet, go and say hello to them. Like these
Mhm.
people are so lovely and they just want to have a chat. Like,
True.
yeah. And I mean, look, closer to home, who do I want to talk about? I know Ruby Review is starting back up again. It's one of the original burlesque shows from Sydney.
Mhm.
The lineup for that is incredible. You've got Imogen Kelly, who is the only person from Australia that has won Miss Exotic World. I think she won in 2012.
Wow.
Um, and like her act and her handover act is one of the most beautiful acts I've ever seen. She does this beautiful big hoop skirt situation where she just makes shapes upon shapes, and like, oh, it's like, go and watch it after this, Days.
Okay.
It's fantastic. I'll send you the link.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
who else is in it? Reese Lightning, he's
Oh,
just won Best Debut over at Beehoff as well.
okay.
And if you haven't seen Reese, like, what rock have you been living under? He's incredible. He's a
Mhm.
commercial dancer. He understands like striptease and where we've come from in terms of like, the history of burlesque and why we wear pasties and why we do what we do. And then you've got Ginger Fox, who's won MX New South Wales, who's won, I think she won a Queensland, and she was like runner up Miss Burlesque Australia. And if you haven't done a class with Ginger, like hire her for a private. She, again, just knows burlesque like the back of her hand. She has so much knowledge, and she's just such a beautiful being. She's so full of like love. I cannot gush about Ginger Fox. And she does fox and ginger earrings and resin jewelry. So if you don't have anything of that, highly recommend you get on that. Kellyanne Dole's performing, and we all know like Kelly's just been at Best Debut. She's been in this scene for, please don't count, 15 years, maybe longer. But
Yeah.
like, if you haven't seen Kelly or been a part of one of her shows, like she's phenomenal. Who else is in that show? I think Dakota Fanny is going to be their MC, and she's hilarious. She's a gorgeous little drag queen from Sydney.
Yes. And
Um,
she's hosting MX, isn't she?
is she? I think she is.
Yeah. I'm like,
Oh, fantastic! I'm so excited about that. Oh, dearie me. I have so many people to talk about, but like, cut me off because again, I'll go for about 3 hours.
It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Ah, man, I know, but that's the thing is that we really are spoiled for talent and just talent and people who are doing incredible things in Sydney and just in Australia in general, I feel.
Absolutely. I think Australian burlesque is so beautiful because it is just that little bit different from, American burlesque, from European, obviously, because we're on different continents.
Yeah.
Um, it's so wonderful because it has so much light and love and hilariousness to it. I think there's a
Mm,
lot of comedy in what Australian burlesque is.
for
And I
sure.
think, if you look back on the history of what the word burlesque means, it is comedy at the heart of it. And it is poking fun at, the way that women's bodies have always been policed and the way
Mm,
that we've been told that we have to act and present ourselves. And I think that really shows through in what, especially in Sydney,
yeah.
Australian burlesque is all about.
Yeah. That's gorgeous. All right. Well, sadly enough, we are at the end of the
Like,
episode
Aurora, shut up.
now. Aurora, I have other people after this. No, I'm kidding. I actually don't.
Oh, good. I feel less bad now.
No, but yeah, now's the part of the show where I ask you, is there anything that you're working on right now that you want the listeners to be aware of?
Um, no, don't perceive me. No, I'm kidding. Um, I I've just been booked again with Eli Fury to go and do Tickle and Tease
Oh
in
yeah.
January in Adelaide and to go over for Fringe, which I'm super excited about. I'm working on my handover act, which I'm really excited about with Adam Kassar. He is a fantastic costumer, fashion girly that now lives in Sydney.
Gorgeous.
He was a judge at MX last year. He's just absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't met Adam, reach out, say hello. He knows exactly what he's talking about in terms of like styling and fashion and like the fashion history of burlesque. But he is helping me make my prop. And that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil it for anyone in case it doesn't turn out the way I want it to. I'm really, really excited about my handover act. It's going to be really dumb. It has a meaning, but you don't need to know what that is. That's for me. That's my secret. Um, but hopefully it's big and it's camp and it's funny and it's silly. And I
Oh,
hope that people enjoy it.
well, look, knowing you, I'm sure it's going to be all of those things and more.
Good. I hope so.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Aurora. I've had an amazing time.
Thank you so much for having me, Daisy. This was such fun.
So, for anyone who wants to see more of you, Aurora, what is your Instagram?
It's Aurora underscore Riot because Aurora Riot was taken for some reason.
Oh,
Grow up. That's
yeah.
my name.
So fair. Awesome. Well, yeah, I guess I'll be seeing you around the scene then.
I hope so. Okay, bye.
Bye.